There's this idea that floats around all the time. When a man earns more, the family thrives. But when a woman out-earns him, somehow the marriage itself is in danger. So why does this story keep getting told? And what is really going on behind the scenes? Let's get into this because it's a sensitive topic, but a really crucial one. So let's just ask this straight up. Is a woman's financial success actually a threat to her relationship? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. What it really does is pull back the curtain on a huge psychological shift in modern partnerships, one that a lot of us haven't quite caught up with yet. See, it's not really about the money itself. It's about what that money represents. Choice. And hey, as we start to unpack all of this, if you think these are important conversations to have, please make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be exploring a lot more topics just like this, and we'd love for you to be part of the discussion. Okay, so to really get what's happening today, we've got to look back for a second. For centuries, marriage was built on a pretty clear, if unspoken, contract, and it all centered around one thing: the man as the sole provider. It was a partnership that was, at its core, about survival. Now, look at this contrast right here. The old deal was simple, right? He brings home the bacon, she manages the home. But today, something new has been added to her plate, but nothing's been taken off. She's now expected to earn like a provider, but the expectation to manage the entire household, that often stays right where it's always been, squarely on her shoulders. This is what people call the double burden, and it is an exhausting reality for millions of women. Just think about it for a second. You come home after a demanding 10-hour day at work, and what happens? You start a second shift, making dinner, helping with homework, managing the whole household. When all that work isn't seen or acknowledged or shared, well, that money she earns can start to feel less like a contribution to the family and a lot more like an escape fund. And this whole double burden thing shines a massive spotlight on the most fundamental change in modern marriage. This huge shift away from economic need and towards emotional fulfillment. And, you guessed it, choice. Let's just be really direct about a hard truth here. For most of history, a lot of marriages, even the deeply unhappy ones, stayed together for one very simple reason. The woman had no other option. Her survival and her kids' survival was completely dependent on her husband's income. So here it is, the core change. The very foundation of marriage has shifted from need to choice. A woman who is financially independent isn't staying because she has to for survival. She's staying because she wants to be there. And that makes the quality of the connection, the respect, the partnership, the kindness, the absolute center of the relationship. It's not a nice little bonus anymore, it's the whole point. And this brings us to a really, really crucial insight. Money doesn't just create problems out of thin air. What it does is give a woman the power to finally address the issues that might have been hiding under the surface for years. Things like disrespect, feeling like she doesn't have a true partner, or just not being heard. It's like a magnifying glass, and it reveals the cracks that were already in the foundation. And when those cracks are exposed, it often kicks off a pretty destructive conflict. And this isn't about who paid for what. It goes way deeper. It's an internal battle, and it's fueled by the fears and insecurities of both people in the relationship. Let's try to look at this from both sides. For her, the big fear is often exploitation. She wants a partner, not another child to take care of. So if she starts to feel like her husband is getting complacent, maybe not trying as hard because, hey, she's got it covered, that's when resentment can really start to build. For him, the fear often hits at his identity. For generations, a man's value was so tied to being the provider. When that role changes, it can feel like a threat to his very sense of self, and it can leave him asking, so what's my value here? When these two powerful fears collide, it creates what we can call the ego battle. His insecurity might come out as him being controlling, or critical, or resentful. Her fear of being taken for granted might make her pull away, or maybe even use money as a weapon in arguments. This whole dynamic is just toxic, and it can tear down the trust and intimacy a relationship was built on. So that's the problem, and it's a pretty big one. But there is a way forward. The absolute key is to consciously make a shift from a battleground mentality to one of true, genuine partnership. The solution has absolutely nothing to do with who has the bigger paycheck. It all comes down to one incredibly powerful idea: appreciation. And I don't just mean saying thank you. I mean a deep, mutual appreciation for every single contribution, whether it's financial, emotional, or all of that invisible work that keeps a family going. So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, for him, it means verbally acknowledging her hard work, and, this is critical, actively sharing the load at home. This isn't helping her out, it's co-owning the life you've built together.
For her, it's about seeing her financial success as a tool for the whole family's growth, a way to build a future together, not as a source of leverage. And for both of them, the absolute, non-negotiable foundation has to be mutual respect. You're equals on the same team.
And really, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Anyone's money can pay the mortgage and keep the lights on. That builds a house. But it takes a daily commitment to appreciation and mutual respect from both partners to truly build a home. So what's your take on all this? Do you think a woman's financial independence is a threat, or is it a chance to build stronger, more equal partnerships? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences down in the comments. Let's talk about it. If this conversation resonated with you or got you thinking, a like would be really appreciated. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into our modern world. Thanks so much for joining us.